but you would definitely love to address it. Yeah, after vote of thanks, I think sir will definitely deliver. All right, fine. So we'll start off with the first participant. Sorry.
A very good afternoon to respected dignitaries and everyone present here. I'm Sanjukta Paul from School of Education, and I'll straight drive into the topic. So, parent as a coach, if I talk about, I think the emotion that is associated with the term coach is safe, a place where we feel safe. It's a safe word, and definitely a guiding light, a guiding principle which we abide by. Now, why parent should be considered, or parent as a coach deserves predominance, is because it gives scope for their children to develop and grow out. That is very important. I think if parents always took over a very stricter stance of always judging, restricting, screaming, shouting, and overreacting, I don't think that leaves much space for growth and development on the part of the children, because they're always in a constant state of fear that if I do this, I will be scolded, I will be punished. But instead of that, if there's a conversation that takes place between the parent and the children, if they are given an option that if you want to smoke a cigarette, you can, but these are the pros and cons of it. Now it's up to you, I leave it to you whether you want to smoke a cigarette or not. But instead of that, if the parent shouts and screams and says that you are barred from leaving the house, you will be in this room locked up, you cannot meet your friends, give me the numbers of your friends. If this is the pattern a parent takes up, I don't think this leaves much room for a child to grow into an empathetic individual, a responsible individual, somebody who can take decisions on his or her own self, because the parent is not going to stay for long. So for that matter, I think as a coach, if parents can sit down and guide, giving them options, giving them choices that you can make by pointing out that this is good, this is bad, sharing their own experiences, and leaving them room for the directions, the different directions that they can take. I think that way the minds of the children can be better expanded, they can be better individuals, and also a beautiful relationship can bloom here, instead of a relationship of constant fear, constant judgment. And also, I think from here what stems out is children find it difficult to communicate, and they hide things, because they think that if I share this with my parent or my mother, I will be beaten up, or I'll be scolded, I will be judged rashly. So it becomes a very difficult place to deal with. But that way, on the other hand, if as a friend, as a coach, because a coach can also be termed as a friend, as a safe place, like I said, but the child feels safe to get back home and confide in his or her parent that I did a mistake today, I made a mistake. The child should have this courage and not the fear to come to the parent and say, yes, I made this mistake, now what do I do? And the parent should also be guiding enough, empathetic enough, to take the child in his or her arms and guide him through that it's okay to make mistakes, we all have been there, and this could be the next line of action that you can take up. So that's it. Thank you.
Rama was loved by everyone in Ayodhya, including his stepmother Kaikeyi. The entire kingdom awaited his coronation. And yet, Kaikeyi, swayed by a scheming mantra, told him, "Your father commands you to renounce the kingdom." Rama smilingly replied, "Why speak of my father's command? Will I, your son, ever transgress your words? I will obey this command as a sacred duty." Ladies and gentlemen, would we have the Ramayana today if Kaikeyi had not forced her wishes on Lord Ram and played the role of a cop parent? A very good afternoon to everyone present here. Today I, Muskan Gupta, am here to discuss a crucial aspect of parenting, a topic that affects the fundamental development of a child. The debate at hand, a parent, coach or cop, is more than just a discussion about different styles. It's about shaping the environment in which children grow, learn and eventually define themselves. Just like a cop in society, parents guide and enforce rules if the need be for the betterment of their child. Rajmata Jijabai was the mother of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, the founder of the Maratha Empire. She, a swordsman herself, played a significant role in Chhatrapati Shivaji's upbringing and early education, teaching him the importance of strategy, values, and dharma by telling him stories from the great epics and folklore. After the death of his wife, she even raised Shivaji's son, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj, who again went on to become a valiant leader. So when I envision the personality of Jijabai, I think of this strong, fierce, and stern lady who can be, as I said, stern at times. And if her sternness raised two of the greatest Chhatrapatis in Indian histories, then what is the issue with being labeled as a cop parent? Behind every young child that believes themselves is a parent who believed on them first. And they then made the child believe themselves. Now some may argue that parents who take on the role of cops enforce rules, regulations and discipline in their children's lives, even by force. But when we look at the condition of the youth today, going to any extent to emulate the Western world in an attempt to appear what they assume is cool, it may seem that perhaps strict parenting is required. A headline by Economic Times in 2022 read, "More youth between 16 to 25 age are turning to drugs." I think a cop parent here would be a little beneficial. Parents must raise boundaries and provide structure to their children's lives, because every Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj needs a Jijabai. Thank you.
Good afternoon, one and all present over here, respected jury, faculty members, my fellow mates. I'm Gaurav Shah representing Solax and speaking on the topic for the motion. It is believed that one pen, one teacher and a child can change the whole world. Here, the teacher acts as a parent. Before a parent starts parenting, he must be the friend of the child, understanding what exactly the needs is, so that he can comprehend that what his or her child will be exactly going through or will be doing. Parents as a coach influences an individual from overall perspectives. Everyone is born as a diamond, just they need a bit of polish, and that is done by the parents, the guidelines, the judgmental thoughts or the non-judgmental thoughts they require, where to correct and where to scold them. Parents acts as a supportive nature. Whatsoever wrong is done, they need to clarify that. They need to clear that you are doing this in that motion that needs to be rectified. Parents are non-judgmental. Whatever you do, the society might criticize you, but your parents are the only personality who will say you that this is the wrong path you are going and that would be the correct one. Parents give you space to express yourself. Sometimes after doing something that the society might not accept, parents are the only one whom we explain everything that I did this. That is the only space I can freely talk without any judgmental thoughts. Today, remembering Sachish Kishore Roy is one of the great thing that I feel. Because of him only, I think, Sir, our Chancellor, have achieved his success. If not, he would have given his supportive thoughts, not non-judgmental ideas, and giving his space to explore. I don't think he would have received that space. Again, citing an example of Rabindranath Tagore, he have done a lot of literary sources through the times of revolutionary. He acted and he was influenced by Devendranath Tagore for eradicating the social evils. Citing again one example of Priyanka Chopra, whose father worked in military, was highly disciplined and authoritarian. From Priyanka Chopra, from him, she learned how to be disciplined, how to be integrated in the society, how to be getting socialized in a prior manner. Many individuals believe that whatever they have succeeded in their life or whatever they position they are holding on, that's because only of their parents. Speaking about me, in my matriculation during the pre-boards, I opted for mathematics score and I secured 3 out of 80. Honestly speaking, 3 out of 80. My father was the only person who encouraged me, see whatever is happening, do not be do not be anxious, do not think about anything, just appear for the exam. Whatever will be going to happen, let's face it. I eventually appeared the exam, and yeah, it was from 3 to 78 out of 100. If my father or mother would not have encouraged me, I don't think that 70 would have 78 I could have scored, because that 3 was something that made me anxious. Mere se nahi hoga. I'm all done. It's really means I'll be failed. 3 out of 100. No. A parent might be uneducated, but he or she wills and gives his or her 100% effort to fulfill their child's dream, to educate them. See, it is often seen that some of the parents force for education, but being a coach as a parent, that parents needs to find the creative nature of the child, what the child wants to, or what the child seeks to do. If now I will be encouraged in art and dance, then my father has encouraged me. I now he has encouraged me, and I do a lot of stage works including anchoring in Solax from. One last example, that is educating girl child. Nowadays in many families we have seen that out of the household care works, parents are emphasizing on girls education. We can assess that from the movie Kargil, the Kargil girl. She wanted to be a crew pilot. Even now many families, as the parents, are accepting LGBTQA people as being their own blood lineage thing. It's not only because of that what the society will think or what the authoritarian state is, rather than choosing that what ethics their morality or family provides. It is whatsoever a child do, it is comes only from their parents. If a parent doesn't act as a coach or a friend or a guide, today I think there is no scope of development for a child. Thank you. I'll be winding up with this.
Imagine a world where household is a microcosm of society and parents are the unsung heroes of donning the badge of authority. Good afternoon, esteemed judges and one and all present here, and fellow debaters. On a journey into the realm where parents transform into the ultimate law enforcement officers in their children's lives. Just as cops patrol the streets to maintain order, parents patrol the corridors of their homes to unfold discipline, ensure safety, and impart invaluable life lessons. Don't worry that children never listen to you. Worry that they are always watching you. By Robert Luford. What I see in today's topic when I see is the cops. Now there are two aspects to that. There the two aspects are, the first is a bad cop and the second is a good cop. Now let me speak about a good cop. A good cop is a sort of a parent who is actually providing policy, that is taking the policy method into the system while parenting, but is not authoritative in nature. Whereas a bad cop is considered a parent who is doing the policy system but is strict with the guidelines that have been provided to the ward. Now here lies the difference. Amalgamation of two type of cops or two type of parents in a single family can raise a child who is better than anyone else in the society. A bad cop can enforce a child to be a better person. In a report by The Times, 33.6 billion per population in teenagers in the Western countries are suffering at a higher rate of substance abuse, involvement in crimes, teenager addicted to drugs, and social media access and propaganda. Whereas when compared to India, where cops parent are the maximum in nature, the entire crime rate is much lower considered. Now the next point is parental patrol. Parents are the ultimate guardians for the children's well-being in today's society. Everyone at the streets, the teachers, the professors might say that we care for you. We are actually care for you. Yes, they do. But at the end of the day, it is the parents who care for you. Now, why I go for a co-parent and not a guide parent? A guide parent, the word guide means the person who will show you the way, the person who will say you how to walk the way. The person will not walk the way with you. And here comes the co-parent. What do we mean by co in a society? When we have the guidelines, we know the rules and regulations. What's the need of a police in a traffic jam? What's the need of a police in every traffic mode where we know that the rules and regulations, if we violate, we will be in danger? But the cops are present there to make it strict and make the people not violate the rules, rather follow the rules. And here where the co-parent exists. Every children know the rules and regulations, what is good to them, what is bad to them, but they are bound to make follow the rules and regulations, whether they are abiding or not. And that is the function of a co-parent. The teenager addicted to drugs is considered very much less in India compared to that in the westernized countries. Now why? Control of the parents on their wards and control assessment of their regular activities, not just in their daily lives but outside the home, in the university, in the social media, is actually helping them keeping a track of whatever they are doing outside, not just in the home, not in front of them. This is creating an impact. This is creating an impact on the children and molding the person for a better person to be in future. I'll say that prevention is better than cure. Before any of the disease actually affects me, or when I know there's a disease prevailing in the society, why will I commute to that disease? Why will I go near to the person? Example of COVID-19. When COVID was there in the society, everybody used to wear masks. Some people used to stay at home. They used to order foods online, order beverages online, order veggies online. Why? Because they know that there is danger outside. And I will be staying in my home. I will be staying safe. And that is what a co-parent do. That is, prevention is better than cure. Instead of getting affected by the disease, they choose to keep their wards safe from the outer world that is actually harming them. They strict the rules, the regulations, the objectives they need to follow. They put the goals of what they are to achieve in future. They walk the way with them, they set the regulations, they make them a better person. Thank you, sir. And finally, I say that parents, as a co-op, serve much more better than that of a guide. But I do say that a bad cop and a good cop are the two aspects whose amalgamation can make a better future for each and every children in the society. Thank you.
Am I audible? Okay. First off, my question to you, Debraj, is with all due respect to whatever opinions you've put forward, what I want to ask you is you supported that a parent being a cop is okay because it gives you a very restricted environment. But don't you think that also induces trauma in childhood and in children as well, and also that damages the family relationships between the parent and the child? Do you think that gives birth to a happy, healthy family? I think children are constantly under the fear and trauma that I will be punished, I will be scolded, I will be restricted. So don't you think that's a very traumatizing experience for a child? Maybe a child grows into a better human being, but is the child emotionally stable considering the kind of strict regime he or she has induced in his lifestyle for all these years, for 16, 17, 18 years? What do you have to say about that?
Well, the thing that you have got cop, the meaning itself, I want to clarify that I've said two aspects to that. There's a good cop and a bad cop. Not whatever we see in the cinemas or in the Netflix, what cops are, that they're negative rules. No. The cops are the one who enforce law in the society. That is the literal meaning. And what a parent does is make these wards understand the values of life. Being strict doesn't mean shouting at them, yelling at them, but being strict to the principles, to mold them for a better person. It doesn't mean that I will destroy the relationship with my child, but I will make the person understand. This is something what I mean when I say a co-parent. Thank you.
My question is to you. With all due respect, your entire definition of a cop parent seems a tad bit harsh. Shutting the child in the room, beating them up. These seem a little extreme. The cops that we have in society also, they enforce laws, but not necessarily by force, right? That's for the extreme hooligan sort of people that don't understand anything. So don't you think that being a cop parent is about providing a structure if the child seems perhaps lost or incapable of taking a decision on their own?
You're saying, but whatever I have mentioned is from real life experiences, which I have seen around in the house just next to me, from my parents, my grandparents, and also my friends. So it is from those experiences that I've gathered that parents can be way too strict. Because I think my parent was also somewhat like that, not the beating part, but I was too scared to even ask for permission if I can go out with my friends. I was extremely scared. I used to rehearse for 3-4 days that if I ask her, she'll reply this. Then what will I reply back? Then what's going to happen? So it's completely based on real life, real time experiences and not made up in the mind. And yeah, so that's it. Thank you.
My question is to you. Previously, you have mentioned that guide parents should provide independence to their wards and children. Well, they set the guidelines you have also mentioned in the speech I heard. In the previous week and previous to previous week, and there are many such evidences that those who have been provide independence in the society, there are some incidents that a son of a rich person who considers himself to be a guide parent mentioned in a police interview has actually railed the car over 6 men beside the roadside. Where is the sort of independence in this? If independence is harmful to the society, then what sort of independence are you claiming in your statement when you say guide parents?
Hello. I termed it was as guide and independence, not like quoted independence. I said it to be liberal. Now, liberalism has two pillars, to be good and to be bad. I'm not asking about to be bad, okay? As if you go, you do whatsoever you want and you are not punished, no rules, no regulations, nothing like that. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, yes, you have the liberty, you do whatsoever you want, but you need to claim that yes, it's right, it's benefiting to the society. Okay, it's not like that. But on contrary, if you're speaking about as like to be authoritarian in nature, then my child will be often in a dilemma that what to do, what not to do. My child will be always thinking that am I doing the thing that is correct or wrong? What will be the consequences of this? If I do this, what I have to face to the next situation? Okay, so that is not actually a job of a parent as a coach. No, I don't think so. At all not.
The question that you mentioned is that authoritative in nature. In my entire speech, whatever I've said till now, I've never mentioned authoritative in nature. I've always mentioned two aspects of COB,
Yeah.
being enforcement.
Yeah.
I think somewhere down the line you were wrong about that statement that you said about me.
No, no.
Now
I-
you said
I
no authoritative in
just
nature,
mentioned the authoritarian nature of any parent.
as I claimed.
I did not say that as you claimed. I said the authoritarian nature of a cop.
As I claimed, something was there. That's it. Thank you.
Can you mentioned about how youngsters are getting swayed away through drug addictions, as have come into the papers and everything. So, do you think, because you spoke about how a parent can be a what did you say? It's as a coach or a cop? You said as a cop, right? So now my question to you is: somebody who is already a drug addict and coming from somebody who's a drug addict is already in a bad shape, is not in a stable state of mind, to be precise. So in that condition, if a cop-like behavior is imposed, do you think that is going to aggravate the stability of the mental condition more, or maybe as a coach, if he's toned down, the reason we have rehabs, right? So what do you have to say about that?
The entire stage that you described, that a complete drug addict, a cop parent will not let their child get to that stage in the first place. Because in my vision, I've always been told that children are like clay and parents are potters. So especially when the clay is soft, that implies when the child is small, you shape the child. Shape the child, you show them what is right, what is wrong. So the entire scenario that you described, if I'm playing the role of a cop parent, now again by cop I don't mean that type that's hitting their children with batons. I'm talking about the type that provides a structure. So as a cop parent, I know I can give a guarantee that my child will never ever reach that position where they are a drug addict and they have to be in a rehab.
But as a rebuttal, I would say that, but supposing, for example, the child has already reached the state where, he or she is a drug addict, in the influence of friends, company, which you don't know, you have no control over. And also the parents today are working parents, very importantly. They are very busy with their work. So they cannot be 24 into 7, under surveillance of what the child is doing. So what do you have to say
Yeah.
about that?
So see, this is a debate and I need to pick a side, of course. But I personally believe that parenting is always supposed to be a mixture of both. A healthy mixture of cop and coach both. So if my child has reached to that condition, I will play the role of a coach, personally. Because sometimes sternness is required and sometimes you need to sit down and say, tell me what's wrong. So that is the coach role. So a mixture is required, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I was saying, in the initial stages, it's important to play the role of a cop because that time the child does not know what is wrong and what is right. So providing that structure initially is very important. Now, like most of us over here are in our early 20s. Now, playing the role of a cop is not really required. Now, personally, as a child, also, I would prefer my parent to sit with me as a friend and talk to me. And so that I can discuss everything very openly. So that in this stage, a cop will not be appreciated, and this would only lead to poor communication between the parent and the child. So I think it depends from age group to age group.
And adding to that, I would like to say that as soon as the problem has been conveyed to the guardians, the first thing that they need to do is act like a guide. They need to understand the problem, provide them with a solution, and not acting as a cop at the initial stage. Because directly hitting a person, shooting the gun, putting the gun on the head and asking a question is much more traumatizing and really very disheartening for a kid to understand that why my mom is reacting like me, because I never knew when I committed the mistake. So they need to be much more compassionate, that yes, he did the mistake, let him understand it was a mistake, and for that I need to make my ward understand that it was a mistake that he did. So for the initial time, the person should be a guide parent, and later when the same mistake is repeated again, then it will be a cop parent. And this is what I suggest. Thank you.
So, as culture is only unique to human civilization, I think good parenting is too also limited to human civilization only. We don't know actually how everyone do actually the parenting is. If you don't know that what limit you should be behaving with your child, sometimes your child should be traumatized. It might happen. So to put a limit to that, the parents must know where to draw a line in between them, where to be harsh, where to be soft. If a child have done something in a wrong manner, first we need to rectify that what is the wrong done. We need to make him or her understand what is the thing that you exactly doing wrong. That needs to be clarified. If that is not done, I think that same mistake will be continued by that child again and again. Thank you.